Hello everyone, this is Ellen from 1000 Splendid Books, and today I'm going to go over my to be read pile for 2016. So far it amounts to around, 27, 28 books, so I guess I'll start with what I'm currently reading, which is Alison Weir, A Dangerous Inheritance. This is about two girls, so one of them is Catherine Plantagenet, who is the bastard daughter of Richard III, and the other girl is Catherine Grey, who is the sister of Lady Jane Grey. For those history buffs out there, you'll know that they exist in two different time periods. This is because Catherine Grey is kind of uncovering the story of Catherine Plantagenet. It does get a little bit confusing as they both have the same name, but because they both live in different time periods, it's not too hard to kind of follow. I really like this book so far. It's quite intriguing. There seems to be kind of almost a fantastical element about it, and it's kind of surrounding one of the most intriguing kind of conspiracies around the time, which is the Princes in the Tower. Whether it'll be Richard III or whether it'll be the Tudors who are behind it, because there's also whisperings that they had particular dealings behind the Prince of the Tower's murder. I don't actually know yet, but I'm really looking forward to finding out. And I love Alison Weir. If you like Philippa Gregory, you'll love this author. She's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's like Philippa Gregory in that she follows the female leads rather than the male. Innocent Traitor by Alison Weir is one of my absolute favourites. It's about Lady Jane Grey and her ascension to power from a child to a queen, and about her trial and all that kind of stuff. But if you really like Tudor period history novels, then I definitely recommend Alison Weir as an author because, yeah, she's just fantastic. So really looking forward to finishing this off. And my next book, which kind of leads into it, is The Marriage Game by Alison Weir. This surrounds Queen Elizabeth and her particular, rendezvous with Robert Dudley, which was quite scandalous at the time. I don't know whether anything actually happened between them, but I'm sure Alison Weir will shed her own light on what she thought happened with Robert Dudley and the Queen Elizabeth. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've read the Lady Elizabeth, which is about Queen Elizabeth's childhood, and I've always been fascinated about Queen Elizabeth's childhood and Queen Mary's childhood because, I mean, Henry VIII was a complete tyrant, and the way he treated his children in some cases were absolutely appalling. Unless, of course, you're Edward, in which case you were treated like the prince that you were, but these two were pretty much bastardized and bullied by their father, and it was really interesting to read kind of more about her early life because I hadn't really known that much about it before. But yeah, really looking forward to reading The Marriage Game. I'm sure it'll be absolutely brilliant, just like her other books. So yeah, on to the next one. So we got Stray by Rachel Vincent. I haven't actually read anything by Rachel Vincent before. This was given to me by my sister. It seems to be about a werecat, and it's kind of, I'm guessing, urban fantasy if we're going to put a label on it. It seems quite good. I like Kelly Armstrong type kind of books, so I like anything with the strong female lead, and I like anything that has a lot of fighting and blood and gore and adventure and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this will be good. I haven't actually looked in this on Goodreads to see how well that's fared, but I kind of just want to make my own opinion about it. But hopefully it will be good, and yeah, looking forward to reading this one too. Next on the list is The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. I came across this on Goodreads. Sorry, I've got a cold. I came across this on Goodreads and it seemed to be quite high up. I also came across this on like best fantasies to read, and this one kept cropping up everywhere I looked. Basically, it's about a kind of bunch of thieves, from what I understand, who very amusingly call themselves the Gentlemen Bastards. So it seems to be quite witty. I've got high expectations for this book, so really looking forward to reading it. And the next on the list is Swords of Good Men by Snorri Christiansen. I probably absolutely massacred his name. Sorry. It's Viking period. I haven't really read much from kind of Viking era, but I'm trying to get more, I guess, breadth in what kind of historical novels I do read, because I tend to read around like the Tudor times and that kind of stuff, which is really interesting. But there are other periods of history that I can read about, and this one was lent to me by my uncle, who is basically a historian, and he absolutely loves it. So I think it'll be good. There seems to be a lot of war, a lot of fighting involved, so certainly probably going to keep me on my feet. Again, looking forward to reading this one. Next on the list is Left Hand of God by Paul Hoffman. I have seen this book in pretty much every single bookstore I go to. This book has been following me around for ages, and I think, I'm going to buy that book, I'm going to read it, and I finally bought it. Finally going to read it at some point. It's probably high on the list of things to read. It seems to be about an assassin called Thomas Cale. I don't really know much beyond that because the blurb doesn't really say that much, except that he's probably going to sacrifice anyone that he comes across and betray them and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like quite an interesting character. Whether it'll be as good as I'm hoping it will be, I don't know, but yeah, high expectations for this book, and hopefully it won't disappoint. Next on the list is Bill Bryson, Notes from a Small Island. I've actually read this book before, but it's been quite a long time. I think the last time I read it I was about 14 and now I'm 22, so that's quite a few years ago. From what I remember of it, it was quite funny. It's non-fiction, and it's about the author going back to America after living in England all these years. And I think it's kind of his humorisms and kind of noticing the cultural differences between Britain and America and the different way of life over there. So I think this is going to be quite funny. I hope it's going to be as good as I remember it is. So I'll probably do a review of this book and let you guys know if it lived up to my memories of it at any rate. Next on the list is The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. I know this is an Amazon series. I haven't actually seen the series, but I've been recommended to basically watch it by my friends. But I wanted to read the book first because I always find the book is better. I mean, I think a lot of us do. I think it's about if basically we didn't win the war and Nazis took over and Japan is, I think, controlling America. So this looks like it's going to be quite good. It's going to be, I think, quite politically interesting to read what potentially our lives would have been like if we hadn't won the war. I've heard mixed things about this. Some people really love it. Some people really hate it. I don't know if I'm going to love it yet, but might as well give it a go. Next up is Bernard Cornwell, The Lost Kingdom. This has recently been made into a BBC series, and everyone that I know of has watched it and seems to absolutely love it. Again, I wanted to read the book first before I watched the series, just so I could get the full experience. It's set in Viking times, seems to be surrounding this guy called Uthred, and I think it's about his journey of becoming a Viking and a warrior and surviving in quite a cruel and, interesting world. So this is also when the Romans turn up in England. So it's kind of like the battle between Christianity and paganism and kind of adapting to a new way of life. I think this is part of a series, so probably if I love this one, I'll go and buy the rest of them. I've just realised that I read a lot of historical novels and fantasy novels. That's basically all I seem to read, so obviously I've got a taste for it. I am hoping to kind of get away from that and maybe look at more kind of contemporary literature, maybe more into crime, but I don't really know that much about crime. If you do know any good crime, please leave a comment down below and I'll definitely check it out and add it to my wish list and basically read anything. Actually, if you recommend anything, just pop it down there and I'll give it a go. Next up is The Dragon's Blade by Michael Miller. I actually know him from our writing circle. He read a bit of this in the actual writing circle, so he read some of the manuscript and I absolutely loved it. So don't really know too much about it except that this is kind of about dragons and they once were like, typical dragons, you imagine them, but now they're in human form. Why that is, I don't know yet, but looking forward to finding out. And I love the cover. I mean, look at that. That's so cool. Okay, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one because I haven't read the series and I didn't actually hear of the series until I started to watch BookTube. But I bought Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas because everyone on BookTube seems to be talking about this book or this particular book series. And it seems right up my alley, so I'm surprised I haven't heard of it before, but I'm finally getting into it now. I don't know at what point I'm going to read this, but I will probably do a review on it. I hope it's as good as everyone's been saying because people seem to be addicted to it. That and Cinder, which is also on my wish list, but I haven't actually bought yet. also seems to be really good. I hope this lives up to the expectations, because I don't know whether it's going to be one of those books that have been hyped up so much that I'm probably not going to like it as much as I think I'm going to like it. So that's my particular fear with this book. But it seems to have everything going for it that I liked. It's about an assassin, strong female lead. I think it looks kind of like it's set in a fantasy world, but I don't know whether it actually is. I hope it's going to be as good as everyone says it is. I'm looking forward to reading it and at least giving it a try. Next on the list is The Help. I saw the film of this and then I was like, I definitely have to read the book, because I picked it up in my local bookstore, started to read the front page, and I was like, okay, I can't live without this. I love kind of things that are about social kind of norms back in the day. And I think particularly these type of books make you really think about how awful life was for people who lived about, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago. I hope it's going to be as good as I think it is. I'm sure it will be. Next on the list is Spartan by Valerio Massimo Manfredi. This is about, I think, ancient Greece, about a particular guy called Brithos, who is kind of thrown out, cast out by his family, and is about his journey of becoming a Spartan warrior. Sounds like it's going to be quite bloodthirsty, so should be action-packed and should keep me very intrigued. This is another book that I have seen absolutely everywhere. It's Lamentation by C.J. Sanson. This seems to be surrounding Catherine Parr and her marriage to Henry VIII, which wasn't exactly a bed of roses, because she almost got her head chopped off, which I didn't realise until I read Philippa Gregory's Taming of the Queen. I haven't actually read anything by this author before. I keep hearing a lot of good things about her, so I hope it's going to be good. Is it a her? I'm not even sure it's a her. I think it's a her. Are you a her? I'm wrong. It's a he. Okay. I've read her story told by Philippa Gregory, so interesting to see how this one will compare. I have actually read Gone Girl already, but I'm going to reread it because it's such an amazing book. B, it's been a really long time since I've read it, and C, I saw the film as well and forgotten how much I loved it, so I had to have my own copy of this because my mum currently has my copy. So yeah, definitely gonna give this another go. Sure, I'll love it pretty much exactly the same as I did the first time. So yeah, should be really good. Okay, so next on the list is Ship of Magic, The Mad Ship, and Ship of Destiny, which is part of the Live Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb. I've read the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy, absolutely loved it. Asked for these 3 for Christmas. I've also got another 4 books of Robin Hobb to read. I will probably read these pretty soon because I can't wait to get back into a world. Robin Hobb just knows how to write fantasy. Like, everything she does is amazing. Her characters are so well thought out, so drawn out, and her world is absolutely fantastic. She's up there with the greats like Tolkien and Ursula Le Guin, and also, I guess, Brandon Sanderson, because he's absolutely amazing. Really looking forward to reading these 3. They're quite big chunks of books, so it'll probably keep me entertained for quite a while. So really looking forward to getting back into her world again. So continuing on with that, this is the next trilogy, which is the Tawny Man trilogy. So this is The Fool's Errand, The Golden Fool, if I can get it up the right way around, that would be great, and Fool's Fate, which is, I think when we first, so the Assassin's Apprentice kind of is the first step trilogy. It follows this boy who then becomes a man, Fitz. At the end of that kind of trilogy, he's sort of essentially retired. But this is him coming back into kind of play, I suppose, to protect Verity's son as he kind of tries to become king. I won't go into it too much because there's a lot that happens in Assassin's Apprentice, and that by far is one of the best fantasy trilogies I've ever read. So if you are looking for something great and inspiring and just magical, definitely go for the Assassin's Apprentice. And last but not least on the Robin Hobb pile, we've got Fool's Assassin. So that is her most recent books about Fitz chivalry. There's another one after this, I think, called Fool's Quest, but I haven't got that yet because I kind of need to read this first just to decide if I'm going to get it or not. I think it'll be good. I hope it will be good. Yeah, so really look forward to basically having a Robin Hobb marathon. So kind of moving on to like our last set of books now. I've got The Martian by Andy Weir, which I've never read, but I've heard so many great things about it. I've seen the film, really loved that. My boyfriend has the Audible version of this book and he absolutely adored it, so I'm sure the book's going to be absolutely fantastic. I think this will probably be one of the first books that I pick up and read just to know what all the fuss is about, really. I haven't read much sci-fi or kind of science fiction-y type set in the future kind of books before. So this will be kind of interesting from a beginner's viewpoint into the science fiction world. I hope it's as good as everyone says it is, because I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I really worry when people say things are absolutely amazing, because if I don't find it amazing, I'm going to feel really awkward when I talk about it. Next on the list is The Alloy of Law, which is a Mistborn novel. I think this is set in the future, same world as the Mistborn trilogy was set, but I think this is way after kind of the events that happened in the Mistborn trilogy. Interesting to read about from a kind of fan perspective, because you don't really ever kind of step about 200, 300 years in the future in a world. You can't just stick around that world for quite some time. And I think Brandon Sanderson's added some kind of like technological advances into this. He kind of touched upon it in the Mistborn trilogy, but I think this is actually coming into fruition. So I think it'll be good. I hope it will be good. And Brandon Sanderson's a legend, so it should be absolutely amazing. And kind of continuing on with Brandon Sanderson, I've got the Stormlight Archives, which I got for Christmas from my dad. I'm sure it'll be good. So we've got The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance. And I love the book colours. I love the book covers for Brandon Sanderson. They just look so good. Like everything about it is just amazing and intriguing. I hope it's as good as the Mistborn trilogy. It seems right up my street. Fantasy novels set in worlds where conflict's happening as per usual. And I think the really great thing about Brandon Sanderson is the way he treats magic and the way magic is in his worlds. Like I think Warbreaker, which is another book by him, is like the main characters have their powers from colour or something like that. So that's also on my to be read pile in my wish list on Amazon. So hopefully we'll get that soon. But after I've got through this massive to be read pile that I currently have at the moment. Next up is Raymond E. Feist and Jenny Wirtz, The Daughter of the Empire. I've heard so much about this trilogy. It's meant to be really good. I've read his, well, I don't know if you can tell, but from kind of here on my bookshelf to all the way down here, that is all Raymond E. Feist. So I'm definitely a fan. I think this will be just as good as his other books. It's meant to be even better than some of his books that I currently have sitting there. So if it is even better, then really looking forward to it. I think it's set in a completely different world from his other books, which are set in a land called Midkemia. I think this is set in a completely different world. I haven't ever read anything by Jenny Wirtz before, so it'd be interesting to see how two authors combine and create a masterpiece, essentially. If you really also like fantasy and you haven't read anything by Raymond E. Feist, I would start with his Magician book, which is like the first in his whole series, and then I think there's Silverthorn, and I think the next one is A Darkness at Sethanen. That was really elegantly done. Last, but pretty much, actually no, this isn't last, this is second to last. This is Andrew Hodges, Alan Turing, The Enigma Machine. From a nerdy point of view, really looking forward to reading about this amazing and kind of quite conflicted man who creates one of the most powerful machines that the human race has ever created, which is of course the computer. We all use it now. I'm actually using essentially a small one to just film this. It should be as good as I think it's going to be. I've watched the film. I love the film. In my day job, I'm a computer scientist, a software programmer. So just to learn about basically the father of computing is going to be really interesting from like a reader viewpoint and B, a nerdy viewpoint. So kind of looking forward to finding more about the man who gave me the job that I have today. So yeah, my final book, which is on the way to me, is The Girl in the Red Coat by Kate Hamer. That's about a girl who goes missing, and apparently she's quite strange, a bit unusual, and that is supposed to help her survive for whatever reason she's gone missing. I don't know if she's been kidnapped or she's just run off or that kind of thing. Seems quite interesting. I don't really know that much about it, so I'll probably end up doing like a book review for it or something. So thanks everyone for watching. Let me know if there are any books you think I should be reading this year, or even in fact what books you're reading this year and what you're really looking forward to reading in 2016. So if you leave a comment down below, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.